Imagine waking up to news that a European central bank is about to more than double its gold reserves. Not just a slight increase, but a staggering 150% boost. What's driving this massive gold rush? Is it a sign of growing mistrust in traditional currencies? Or is there something else at play? Hey there, gold bugs and economy watchers. Today, we're diving deep into a story that's shaking up the financial world. The Czech National Bank is making waves with its ambitious plan to dramatically increase its gold holdings. But why now? And what does it mean for the global economy? Stick around as we uncover the motives behind this golden decision and explore its potential ripple effects across the financial landscape. Now, before we dive into the Czech National Bank's gold buying spree, let's take a moment to understand why profitability matters for central banks. You might be thinking, wait, don't central banks just print money? How can they be unprofitable? Well, it's not that simple. Central banks, like any other institution, need to manage their assets and liabilities. They're not in the business of making money, but they do need to maintain financial stability. When a central bank consistently loses money, it can erode public trust and potentially impact its ability to implement effective monetary policies. Imagine trying to steer a ship with a broken rudder. That's what an unprofitable central bank might face when trying to navigate economic waters. So when we hear about a central bank making bold moves to boost profitability, it's not just about the bottom line. It's about maintaining the tools and credibility needed to fulfill their crucial role in the economy. Let's zoom in on the Czech National Bank's situation. Picture this. You're the head of a central bank, and you're looking at a balance sheet that's bleeding red. That's the predicament facing Alois Mikl, the Czech National Bank's governor. The bank has been grappling with significant losses. And the root of the problem? It's all about foreign currencies. The bank holds a huge portfolio of foreign reserves. But here's the kicker. These reserves are only earning a measly 2% return per year. That's barely keeping pace with inflation. To make matters worse, the Czech koruna has been on a steady upward march against other currencies. While that might sound great for Czech tourists, it's a nightmare for the central bank's balance sheet. Every time the koruna strengthens, the value of those foreign reserves takes a hit. It's like watching your savings shrink in real time. Mikl and his team are now faced with a tough challenge: how to turn this financial ship around and steer it towards profitability. And that's where the gold comes in, but we'll get to that juicy part in a bit. So, what's a central bank to do when its foreign currency strategy isn't cutting it? Time to mix things up. Alois Mikl, the mastermind behind the Czech National Bank's new plan, is taking a page out of the diversification playbook. It's like he's looked at the bank's investment portfolio and said, "We need more flavors in this financial ice cream." First up on the menu, stocks. Mikl's aiming to pump 30% of the bank's reserves into the stock market. It's a bold move, following in the footsteps of the Swiss National Bank, which has been riding the stock market wave for years. But Mikl's not stopping there. He's also eyeing that shiny yellow metal we all know and love: gold. It's like he's assembling an all-star team of assets to rescue the bank's balance sheet. By branching out beyond traditional foreign currency holdings, Mikl's hoping to boost returns and shield the bank from the wild swings of currency markets. It's a high-stakes game of financial Tetris, and Mikl's betting that these new pieces will fit just right. Now, here's where things get really interesting. The Czech National Bank isn't alone in its gold rush. It's part of a much bigger trend that's sweeping across central banks worldwide. Picture this: central bankers from around the globe huddled in a secret meeting, all nodding in agreement about one thing: gold is hot right now. Okay, maybe it's not that dramatic, but the numbers don't lie. The World Gold Council recently conducted a survey that's got the financial world buzzing. A whopping 81% of central bankers believe that global gold reserves are going to increase in the next 12 months. That's not just a trend, folks. That's a gold tsunami. But wait, there's more. Nearly a third of these central bankers weren't just talking the talk. They're walking the walk. 29% of them are planning to increase their own gold reserves in the coming year. That's the highest number since this survey began. It's like watching a gold rush in slow motion, with central banks from emerging markets leading the charge. The big question is, when will the heavyweight industrial nations join the party? As the world becomes more fragmented, with power blocks forming around the US and China, gold is looking more and more like the ultimate financial safety net. It's the Swiss Army knife of the financial world. Always useful, no matter where you are or what's happening in the global economy. Let's take a quick trip down memory lane and look at the Czech Republic's relationship with gold. It's been a bit of a roller coaster ride. Back in the early 2000s, the Czech National Bank was sitting on a modest pile of gold, about 13 tons. Not exactly Fort Knox, but not too shabby either. But then, something strange happened. Instead of growing their golden nest egg, the Czechs started selling it off. Year after year, the gold reserves dwindled. By 2020, they were down to a mere 8 tons. That's like going from a gold brick to a gold paperweight. But then, the winds of change started blowing. In 2020, the bank began to cautiously buy back some gold. It was like they suddenly remembered the golden rule of investing. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. This gradual increase continued until 2022, when Alice Mikl took the helm of the central bank. And boy, did he have different ideas. Under his leadership, the gold reserves shot up dramatically. In just a short time, they more than tripled their holdings to over 30 tons. It was like watching a gold-starved nation suddenly discover a massive underground vault. But as we're about to see, this was just the beginning of Mikl's golden ambitions. Now, hold on to your hats, because this is where things get really exciting. Remember how the Czech National Bank had boosted its gold reserves to over 30 tons? Well, Alice Mikl looked at that and said, "That's not enough. We need to think bigger." And when I say bigger, I mean much, much bigger. Mikl has set an audacious goal to increase the bank's gold reserves to a whopping 100 tons within the next 5 years. Let that sink in for a moment. We're talking about adding nearly 70 tons of gold to their vaults. That's like deciding to buy a car and instead purchasing an entire car factory. This isn't just a small adjustment. It's a fundamental shift in strategy. It's as if the Czech National Bank is saying, "In gold we trust." But here's the kicker. They're not alone in this bold move. Poland, another European country outside the Eurozone, has also been on a gold-buying spree. It's like watching a game of financial chess, with these countries making strategic moves to protect their economies. This massive increase in gold reserves isn't just about diversification anymore. It's a statement. It's these countries saying, we're preparing for a future where traditional foreign currency reserves might not be enough. It's a golden insurance policy for whatever economic storms may lie ahead. So what does all this mean for the future of gold markets? Well, buckle up, because we might be in for a wild ride. With central banks like the Czech National Bank going on a gold-buying spree, we could see some serious ripple effects. First off, increased demand from these big players could drive up gold prices. It's simple economics. When demand goes up and supply stays the same, prices tend to rise. But it's not just about the price tag. This shift towards gold signals a changing attitude in the financial world. It's like central banks are preparing for a future where the rules of the game might be different. they're hedging their bets against potential currency instability or geopolitical shocks. And here's a thought to chew on. If smaller countries like the Czech Republic and Poland are making these moves, could larger economies follow suit? Imagine if a major player like China decided to significantly boost its gold reserves. That could shake up the entire global financial system. As we wrap up, I'm curious to hear what you think. Do you see this trend of central banks hoarding gold as a smart move or an overreaction? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And hey, if you enjoyed this deep dive into the golden world of central banking, why not give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel? There's always more financial intrigue to uncover, and I'd love to have you along for the ride.